Sarah Bennett was the kind of person who could take the tiniest moment and turn it into an endless mental marathon. She didn't need a big problem to get stressed. Her mind could make a storm out of a light breeze. If a friend didn't reply to her text right away, it wasn't just, "Oh, they're probably busy." No. Sarah's brain went straight into overdrive. She would sit there staring at her phone, rereading the last conversation they had, word for word, as if she was some detective looking for clues. Did I sound too blunt? Did I use the wrong emoji? Was that joke I made maybe not that funny? She'd even remember the exact tone of her voice during their last call, replaying it in her head like a scene from a movie, searching for that one thing she might have said that could have upset them. And if her boss ever sent a short email that read, "Can we talk?" that was it. Game over. In the 10 seconds it took for her to read that line, she had already pictured at least 5 possible scenarios where her career was about to collapse. Maybe I messed up that report last week, or maybe someone complained about me, or, oh God, what if they're downsizing the company? By the time she actually walked into the meeting, her heart would be pounding. Her hands would feel a little clammy, and she'd already rehearsed 20 different apologies in her head, none of which she ever ended up needing. The truth was, Sarah didn't choose to think this way. She wasn't sitting there saying, "Hey, let's ruin my own peace today." It just happened. Her mind had a life of its own. It was like having a TV in her head that never turned off. Except instead of showing one channel at a time, it was blaring every channel all at once. News, sports, drama, horror. Every scene fighting for her attention. And no matter how hard she tried to press mute, the volume just kept getting louder. One night, Sarah lay sprawled across her bed in her tiny Chicago apartment, the soft hum of the city outside mixing with the occasional sound of a car rolling past. The red digital numbers on her nightstand glowed 2:30 a.m., almost taunting her. She knew her alarm was set for 6 a.m., barely 3.5 hours away. And tomorrow wasn't just any workday. She had a big presentation. The kind where your boss, your boss's boss, and probably someone from corporate would all be watching. The kind where you need to be sharp, calm, and confident. But instead of drifting off into the deep, restful sleep she desperately needed, Sarah was wide awake. Her eyes traced the shadows dancing across her ceiling. Her mind, of course, was nowhere near quiet. It was looping a single moment from earlier that day like a song stuck on repeat. She could still see it, standing by the coffee machine in the break room, cup in hand, when her coworker casually glanced at her and asked, "Are you sure this is the right approach?" Those 8 little words had been harmless enough in tone, but in Sarah's head, they had grown teeth. Her mind began chewing them over, twisting them, stretching them into every possible meaning. Did they think my idea was bad? Were they questioning my competence? Or worse, did everyone else think the same thing? And this was just the first time someone said it out loud. She pulled the blanket tighter around her shoulders, as if that could block out the thought. But the more she tried to push it away, the louder it got. Her heart gave a soft, uneasy thud in her chest. Her jaw clenched. She thought about what she could have said in response, what she should have said, and replayed the scene again and again, each time imagining herself saying something smarter, more confident, more in control. The city might have been asleep, but in Sarah's mind, it was rush hour. Traffic going 100 miles an hour in every direction, and there was no off switch. A normal person might have shrugged it off, but in Sarah's head it became, "They don't trust me. They think I'm incompetent. Maybe I'm in the wrong career. What if I fail tomorrow? What if I can't pay my rent?" Her heart started racing. She sat up in bed, breathing heavily. She realized this wasn't thinking anymore. It was drowning. The next day, running on 2 hours of sleep, Sarah walked into a coffee shop near her office. She ordered a black coffee and sat in the corner, staring blankly at her laptop. An older man sitting nearby noticed her fidgeting, tapping her pen, and muttering to herself, After a while, he said, "You're thinking too much." Sarah looked up, a little annoyed. "Excuse me?" The man smiled. "I used to be like you, always in my head. Then one day I realized, the mind is like a glass of muddy water. If you keep shaking it, the water stays cloudy. But if you let it sit still, the mud settles. You see clearly." Sarah tilted her head. "Okay, but how do you make it still?" He leaned in. "When you catch yourself spiraling, stop and ask, is this helping me right now? If not, drop it. Replace it with action. Move your body. Do one small thing in the real world. Don't let the thought win." It sounded too simple, but that night, Sarah tried it. She was cooking pasta when her mind began replaying an awkward lunch conversation. Normally, she'd sink into it for hours. Instead, she paused and asked, "Is this helping me right now?" The answer was obvious, no. So she turned on music and focused on the rhythm of chopping vegetables. The thought faded, not instantly, but enough for her to feel lighter. Over weeks, she kept practicing, catching the thought early before it grew, questioning its value. Is this real or just my brain making noise? Shifting to action, calling a friend, taking a walk, organizing her desk. Sarah noticed something. The less she wrestled with her thoughts, the less power they had. Her sleep improved, her work presentations were smoother, and her relationships stopped feeling like puzzles she had to solve. A year later, Sarah sat in that same coffee shop. She spotted a young man nervously shaking his leg, staring at his phone. He looked just like she used to. She leaned toward him and said, "You're thinking too much. You know, the mind is like a glass of muddy water." And she told him the same story a stranger once told her, the story that helped her finally stop drowning in her thoughts. Overthinking doesn't stop when you find the perfect answer. It stops when you stop feeding the thought. Let the mud settle. Clarity comes in stillness. Thanks for spending your time here. If you felt a shift, even a small one, hit that like button and join our growing community by subscribing.